Hello, and welcome to the latest IFSCC webinar. This is number 19. Every couple of weeks, we have a new webinar about a hot topic in cosmetic science. And today, we're going to be hearing about cosmetics beyond natural, clean, and sustainable technologies. Looking forward to that. But before we get to that, I want to welcome and introduce our Secretariat of the IFSCC, Mary Lynn Hallen, and she is going to start off with a short presentation. You ready, Mary Lynn?
Ready to roll. So I bet
there we go.
So what is the IFSCC? It stands for the International Federation of Societies of Cosmetic Chemists. We're a growing society. Our 50th society joined us last year. That's the Society of Cosmetic Scientists, Nigeria. We are dedicated to international cooperation in cosmetic science and technology. If you're not already a member of the IFSCC, go to ifscc.org and find out the name of our member society in your country. When you join your cosmetic science society in your country, you're automatically a member of the IFSCC. It's included in your membership. You receive our quarterly IFSCC magazine, access to cosmet.com, which has our online database with, we just passed this week, 100,000 papers, posters, articles, etc., available to you at no cost. At ifscc.org, we have a virtual library with reference books, textbooks, recordings of these webinars, and many other things. Some materials only available there. The opportunity to win prestigious awards at IFSCC conferences and congresses, including special awards for young scientists. When COVID is over, we'll go back to hosting educational programs in country with our national societies. And finally, as a member of the IFSCC, you receive a discount to our congresses or conferences. And the amount of the discount is almost always more than you pay to belong to your national society. So your membership pays for itself. Coming up this fall, we have our annual scientific event, which will be held in Cancun, October 25th to 27th. They're going to be making some announcements very soon about the format, how much will be online versus in person. So stay tuned for that. And that's it. We're the IFSCC. Thanks for joining today's webinar.
Well, thank you, Mary Lynn. Okay, we are going to get started just shortly, but a lot more people are checking in. Hello, everybody. Now I'm looking forward to this talk here. Bye, Mary Lynn. Mary Lynn will actually be in the chat, so she'll be there. But let me introduce our speaker today. Our speaker today is Dr. Isabel Ramos. Dr. Ramos is a co-founder of CSO and of Ayuna. Less is Beauty, a cosmetic eco-luxury brand launched in 2017, where she has specialized in clean and green technologies and science. She has a 23 years experience in the dermo-cosmetic industry as technical and R&D director in companies of professional retail, prestige, dermopharmaceutical, and active ingredients. As if you heard earlier in this talk, you got to hear her whole story, how she focused on organic chemistry and somehow stumbled into the cosmetic industry. And she has worked as a consultant for the whole cosmetics chain value. Since 2009, she has been scientific affairs responsible and board member at the Spanish Society of Cosmetic Chemists. Her educational background is in organic chemistry, both a BS and a PhD at the University of Barcelona, performing the research work at the Spanish National Research Council, and with stays as undergraduate student at the London University and a postdoctoral fellowship research at the Amsterdam Center of Drug Research. She holds a master's in management and leadership in science and innovation. Okay, well, welcome. Welcome, Dr. Ramos. And let's get ready for your presentation here. You ready to go?
Yes, thank you very much.
All righty, let me just start this. I gotta hide our cameras here. And all right, take it away.
Hi, everybody. Thanks all for attending this talk today, and also to IFSCC for inviting me and have the opportunity to share visions and experience with you. As CSO of the eco-luxury brand Ayuna Beauty, I have specialized in clean and green technologies in the last 6 years of my total 23 ones in the cosmetic industry. And honestly, it is the highest challenge I have overcome in this career. My presentation is focused on cosmetics beyond natural, because usually the perception of the attribute natural to a cosmetic simply is associated to plant extracts. Actually, when searching for scientific literature and research in this field, this is often the case. However, today's consumers are demanding much more of cosmetics. Not only must they be effective and provide sensorial experience, but there are new values driving a revolution in the industry, which challenge the status quo and requires a new truly vision of how to understand and create products. It emerged at the natural movement, but is far beyond the fact that just incorporating natural source ingredients. It really involves a step ahead. It's clear from the data of the market that there is an interest for natural products. Awareness and selling of this category is growing continuously year over year, and the projection for the worldwide market research for 2025 is a total of 48 billion and a compound annual growth of 5% through this year. This segment is still a small portion of the global cosmetic market, but its exponential growth certainly makes it very attractive and also has created confusion. As there is no clear definition of what a natural product is, and the great number of different types of certification and standards do not help to clarify the panorama. The consumer search for this type of products provide interesting opportunities in a very saturated market, making its claims very attractive and opening for greenwashing for brands, products, and also ingredients. So the question is, why the shift of the consumer? At present, there is a confluence of different situations. First, science has provided new knowledge of undesirable toxic effects of a number of substances, mainly synthetic ones created the second half of the last century, and also information on how lifestyle can impact on health, parallel to the emergence of new biotechnologies that open new and incredible possibilities to create new materials and procedures. Also, environmental studies have provided evidence for the problems of the planet that we are facing. Limited resources, which are exhausting, climate change, waste accumulation, and especially plastic effects on wildlife. Upon awareness of these facts, society is concerned and shifting towards action, including buying decisions. Then, by focusing on health and safety and taking care of the environment, consumers are pushing with their preferences to the industry. Therefore, the next step beyond natural is clean and sustainable. Sustainable involving respectful sourcing with natural resources, wildlife, and human habits and population, and understanding clean as non-toxics and more helpful for the user. And these qualities, even they are more easily found in general in natural products or ingredients, they are not always right away associated with a natural origin for different reasons. A natural origin itself does not ensure fulfillment of this requirement, as we have seen, for example, with ingredients such as non-responsible source palm oil or squalene obtained from sharks instead of plants, both with negative impacts on biodiversity and preservation of species. Moreover, there is a need also to focus on the process to obtain and transform the final ingredients. And this process to obtain natural ingredients are not necessarily clean and sustainable. Conventional plant ingredients often involve low yields in mass balance, as usually a huge amount of starting material is required to obtain reduced amount of final ingredient. Also, large areas of land are needed for cultivation, especially for organic agriculture with production yields are lower than intensive ones. And control exposure to environmental pollution like heavy metal, pesticides, and genetical modifications. Large amounts of water consumption for long-time cultivation, important carbon footprint for the whole process, including transport to processing plants and seasonal variation. Competition with food cultivation, and we saw a very sad example with the biodiesel shift of cultivations and hunger of populations. Affecting biodiversity and natural niche ecosystems and wildlife. And transformation in most cases consists of extraction with organic solvents that in some cases are also not environmentally ideal. And moreover, microbiological stability often involves ionization radiations. On the other hand, synthetic approaches set up in the past to surpass all these advantages very often involve petrochemical approaches. Solvent and reactants, highly toxic, persistent in the environment, and with a high risk and concern for health and environment. These drawbacks can be surpassed by new technologies that provide a step of evolution for truly clean and sustainable raw materials and ingredients through green technology and chemistry. Green chemistry essentially consists of using transformation processes which involve solvent, reactants, and conditioned media, which are milder to human and environment, and also importantly, do not create intermediates or impurities which can be harmful upon use. Green technologies are a step of evolution to this goal, focus on clean and sustainable ingredients as they protect biological niches and resources, do not need land and irrigation. Laboratory control conditions favors reproducible features, purity and protection from different types of pollution, and do not use solvents or toxic intermediates very often. And are excellent tools to fully obtain the power of nature in a respectful way. We can find real examples of use of these biotechnologies available already through cultures of botanical cells, microorganisms, and microalgae. And also, upcycling creates the opportunities of sourcing materials, although care must be taken to the extraction and processes involved. When creating products via natural approach, care must be taken to carefully check these details on the raw materials, as claims related to natural, clean, and sustainable are sometimes done under this existing confusion, and there is a great deal of greenwashing and cleanwashing. Therefore, when creating and designing products beyond natural, we need to take care of all of this. As regards for the formula, first we need to check the substances involved. There is a list of them that needs to be updated frequently to the state of the art, which involves ingredients of concern due to toxicological or ecotoxicological profile or the impurities they carry. As regards to the safety concerns arise mainly for the combined use in the daily cosmetics regimes or cocktail effect, and also regarding suspected or known carcinosity of impurities present, sensitizations, or endocrine disruption, and or their persistency and toxicity in the environment. Here we can see the list of ingredients that should not be included when formulating products beyond natural. Most of them are from petrochemical origin, like EDTA, propylene glycol, mineral oils. Also siloxanes and silanes, which can persist in the environment and pose a risk for the environment. Parabens are just the tip of the iceberg, but regarding preservation, the list is long and includes most of the traditional systems used in the industry for the last years, including formaldehyde and formaldehyde donors like DMD hydantoin, the imidazolinidylurea, polyquaternarium 15, halogenated organic compounds like isopropyl derivatives or corphesin, and even the natural triclosan, isotiazolinones, phenoxyethanol, and benzyl alcohol. Although accepted by certifications, it's known as an allergen. ethoxylated compounds due to the presence of 1,4-dioxane, acrylates, acrylamides, and polyacrylates for the presence of acrylic acid and acrylamide, vinyl and stearyl derivatives for their impurities and trace solvent present, nitrosamine agents, quads and amines, BHT or BHA, synthetic dyes, and aluminum salt and organic sulfates. Talc, recently involved in important issues for the industry, hydroquinone, which already has been banned in the European Union, and retinoids being irritants and also posing some risk for pregnancy. Known and suspected endocrine disruptors, like a great deal of organic chemical filters, phthalates, DEP, DBP, and DEHP, synthetic musts like MX, HHACB, and AH10TN, and fluoroalkyl substances. Also, regarding special features of specifications, care must be taken to avoid heavy metal carriers, pesticides, nanoparticles, GMO, and animal origin ingredients, and processes like ionization, radiations. So I have estimated that this leaves about 10% of the ingredients available in the market for formulators of clean and sustainable ingredients, which really makes a challenge to create products truly beyond natural. The good news is that there is an increasing growing launch of raw materials and solutions, so we are in the good direction. So regards for the formula, there are challenges and solutions when creating formulation. For water, there are technology solutions like botanical waters. Also, we have different kind of chelating ingredients like phytates and gluconates. We also have humectants obtained in a responsible and mass balance procedure like propandiol, glycerin, and ethylene glycol. Fortunately, we have a great deal of emulsifiers that can provide a palette of textures and sensorial profiles, including but not limited to olivates, glucosides, sucrose, and polyglyceryl esters and stearates. Also, we have a big amount of emollients, either from natural origin or clean esters obtained through green chemistry. And active ingredients also from botanical cell cultures, bacterial ferments, and protecting agents like tocopherol. When it goes to surfactants, there are solutions. The problem usually is related to cost-effective relation, and also we have solubilizers. So what are the main challenges? When it goes to rheological modifiers, there are solutions for emulsion and low viscosity systems, but there is a need for high viscosity solutions, as the experience and seriality of the alternatives to carbomers and synthetic polymers is far beyond to be comparable. When it goes to colorants, there is a limited palette possibility of colors, and also stability issues and the conditions of formulation. Preservatives is one of the most difficult areas to overcome when creating a beyond natural product, especially for pH conditions higher than 5.5, as most of them are acidic. And it's also when we need to get away from allergenic substances. There is still a long way to develop broad spectrum solutions for high pH and systems, especially difficult like sunscreens. As it goes to sunscreens, so far we only have physical filters available to formulate, and there is a challenge for high SPF when non-nanoparticles are to be used. For France, we have solutions with essential oils, but still we need to go on a way to be able to create long-lasting solutions. So fixative alternatives in the natural field need to be overcome. Regarding to hair, styling, conditioners, and fixative polymers, there are also some solutions, but still their synthetic counterparts and silicones are providing really are far really effective. The good news is that there is a continuous research on that field, and we are constantly seeing new launches. So I'm very confident that good solutions are coming quite soon. The formula needs to be contained in a coherent packaging with this approach. And so we need to understand what are the solutions and the challenges. And I'm afraid that we have a long way still to go and to find real solutions. There's an increasing awareness of plastics waste and damage associated to it, and this is leading a movement against plastics. However, no real solutions are existing at the moment, in my opinion, for all cosmetic types. At first sight, we can think that recycled plastic seems to be a good procedure. And this is good for using materials in production waste, in manufacturers. However, when it comes to usage of materials collected in the environment, exposed to degradation or after consumer use, the question is how safe and free of toxics they are. What did they contain in the past? Which impurities are they carrying? Which generation of plastics are they? They include bisphenol A and other regulated additives which are already banned. The solution might be then bioplastic materials. However, to my opinion, there is no real biodegradable alternative available. So when using natural sources to create a copy of the petrochemical material does not seem very smart. Even the source is renewable, it's really a sustainable alternative to create a product with the same environmental problems of the end product than the petrochemical alternative. Then we can think of other materials like glass. But when we look at the global circular economy profile, there are issues like important carbon footprint due to a heavy weight of the transport and also the high energy required for recycling. So still a long way to research, and technology hopefully will provide as alternative as, for example, promising algae and bacterial research. Summarizing, beyond natural, the next steps involve clean and sustainable. Care must be taken to try to develop this kind of products and to be sure that the raw materials, the packaging, the processes involved are really truly in this direction. I would propose that beyond natural, there is respect. Cosmetics that respect the consumer health, cosmetics that respect the environment, and also respect for the consumer through a clear communication, a really transparent communication. And we have, as an industry, an excellent opportunity to connect and have respect from the consumers. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Excellent presentation there. Nice job. And fascinating topic. Now, if you have any questions, feel free to post them there. But as always happens, I have lots of questions. So let's just begin with the thing you mentioned this early on in the presentation, but maybe we could talk about it a little bit more. What are your thoughts on an industry like ours taking up farmland to produce chemicals rather than food?
That's one of the topics. I think one of the messages I wanted to make clear is that nothing is easy when we address this kind of products, ingredients and processes. So we have to be very careful with these approaches. And yeah, I think that's why I think that biotechnology is offering us very good solutions, because to compete with food farm doesn't seem, if we really are getting every time more pieces of land, doesn't seem a clever approach. So biotechnology can provide a good combination. Some things need to be farmed, some things can be done in the lab in a reproducible conditions, and this is gonna also, I'm pretty sure that even for food, this is gonna be a solution in the future with these technologies. So yeah, we have to be very, very careful.
Well, that does bring up another challenge in this area, and that's the idea of GMOs. I know in Europe, GMOs are kind of frowned on, not as much in the United States, but do you think GMOs are going to be part of the solution to this problem?
Yeah, the problem with GMO is that we don't know what can happen. And it's like, I don't know if you have this expression in English, we say to open a Pandora box.
It's sort of like throwing a monkey wrench into things.
Okay, we're just discussing about that. We found the word. So the thing is that there is a precaution principle. It's like with nanoparticles. We had a really tendency to use nanoparticles, and then also in the European Union there was a stop, like say, okay, let's go and take control on that. We can use them, but we need to regulate and to understand very well what's happening. So we moved forward until we know more about that. So there might be interesting solutions, but we need to be precautious. And this is something that in the clean arena is a premise, something that really needs to be taken. Let's have a precautious principle, and when you can demonstrate that this is okay and it's good, let's go for this solution.
So we've got a few questions coming in. And Hari says, is the greener products performance comparable to non-green products? I think one of the big challenges for formulators is that consumers are used to a certain performance in their products, and it seems like the natural things, they just don't work the same or as well. And is that something that can be worked out?
Yeah, there are solutions, and we have all these technologies providing ingredients at the same level of quality and efficiency. Every time, as I mentioned, we have more in the market coming, and they are in agreement with all these criteria, but they also have proven efficacy with the same tests as other ingredients. So the main drawback when creating this kind of products is that to have all the performances, sensorial performances mainly, of a standard cosmetic, it's more difficult because there are not all the tools that we have access with conventional cosmetics. But it's possible to create efficient and sensorial products.
I always think it's like if a cosmetic chemist is a painter, you know, if you're a regular cosmetic chemist, you can use all of the colors. But if you're focused on just green, you only have like a couple of colors.
That's it.
Both of you can make good pictures, but is one better than the other? I don't know.
I'd say it's more difficult. I've been in the industry for more than 20 years, as I mentioned before. And when I started to work on developing green and clean, especially clean products, it was one of the most challenging projects I ever overcome. And even for a prototype, one of the products I was working, it took 98 prototypes. I think formulators here can understand that this is really difficult, but it's possible. It's more difficult. You have to think and consider much more points that normally you do. Yeah. And normally we already have a lot of things to take care about.
Yeah, yes. I remember being on a project where I was trying to make a shampoo that worked better than anything on the market at that time. And at the time, Pantene was the best working shampoo in the United States. And I had to wash my hair like 1,500 times that year. Still works. But I got a good product. All right, Sandra says, could you give us your thoughts about the RSPO ingredients?
Good question.
Could you just tell us, what does RSPO stand for?
Yes, this is the roundtable regarding sustainable sourcing ingredients. especially with palm oil, PO. And this is an organization which have different stakeholders and related with the palm oil. And I think that's a very interesting interesting initiative to provide security on the sustainability of the palm oil sourcing. And for me, it's very important that the products have a mass balance and the sourcing, because most of the raw materials that are from botanical origin, so the ones that we use, because we are not, in general, at the industry, we don't want to use in most of the cosmetic brands animal derived ingredients. So when we focus on natural, we focus mainly on botanicals. And most of them are sourced with one of the sources is palm oil, even if you don't have palm oil in the INCI name. So this is something that is really providing support, that there is an organization certifying that it's obtained in a sustainable way. The only thing is that also we need to consider that palm oil is one of the most efficient ones. Yeah. So care must be taken. Let's not move to not to use palm oil, because the other oils are not so efficient and we need more, and we go again to the same topic: more farm, more production, more land. So yes, we have to be very careful.
If you look at the amount of palm oil used, the cosmetic industry uses only a kind of a small amount compared to what, the food industry or other industries?
I think so. I mean, when you compare to food industry, everything is in the cosmetic industry is much smaller size than the food industry. Yeah. Anyway, we need to take care of the sustainability and that these oils come from a good origin, but that it doesn't really matter if it's palm oil or other oils. We need to take care of that.
Yeah, great. All right, Veronica wants to know, why do you think bioplastic is the alternative solution to petrochemical-based plastics?
Actually, I don't mean that only the topic of being biosourcing. Actually, I don't think that a solution is to use polymers like polyethylene glycol, the polymers we are usually using for our plastics in cosmetics. Yeah. Now it seems that an alternative can be biosourcing from sugarcane, for example. So we are again competing with food. Yeah. But my point is also to obtain a product which finally is the same kind of plastic. So it's not biodegradable. So my question is this a solution? I don't think it's a solution. I think that the solution would be, there are research and investigations going on, but so far I couldn't find a product in the market readily available for use in the general cosmetic industry, which is biodegradable and coming from a natural origin. So I think that algae research may come with solutions, but for me, there is not a solution. The biosourcing with a product which is not biodegradable.
Yeah, packaging is a big challenge. Svetlana says, which green ingredients do you recommend as a replacement for like silicones?
I think there are, well, silicones, it's a too wide range of products.
Right, yeah.
And I think still there are not solutions for all the options. I think we have good solutions for short chain silicones and volatile silicones. There's been a big movement with all the regulation with REACH of the cyclopentasiloxane and short chain ones and cyclic ones. So there are good volatile and very light solutions. For me, still there is a long way to work to polymers like cross-vinyl polymers and long big molecular weight ones. Yeah. Even you can have some alternatives, vegetal alternatives to dimethicone, but still for the polymers, it's a work to be done.
generally emollients, those sorts of things have been used as replacements, but there's a reason silicones are used. All right.
But yeah. I'm sure we will get, because there is a big movement on the industry, so for sure we will get soon them.
Inhari says, there's this question from Sonia. Sonia says she's in Indonesia. What are your thoughts on this clean beauty and clean products? Natural has sort of gone out of vogue in the marketing area, and people, call everything clean. What would you consider a definition of clean beauty? That's a good question.
That's a good question, because so far there is not an official definition, and every company is creating its own list of non or forbidden ingredients. And to be really clean, what I understand to be really clean means a long list of substances like the ones I mentioned. There are more, but it's possible to follow lists like EGW, Skin Deep, or Made Safe, and they list on ingredients which are scientifically documented from Environmental Canadian list. Also, we have all the European evaluations in which we can see the gaps and so on. So I think this list must be very strict, and every company must decide it. But it must be strict. It's not just a matter of saying, I don't have parabens, I don't have silicones, so I'm clean. It's much more than that. Yeah. And also, it's related to sustainability. There is no mean on not using ingredients that are more safe for skin, but they are not for the environment. So we need to combine both, and also the respect for the consumer, transparency, and the communication.
I think one of the big challenges there is that since the term clean beauty was created by marketers, they sort of all compete with each other, and they don't want to all get to the same thing. And if clean or natural becomes a regulatory term, then everybody can get in line and consumers can get a consistent message. But I think if we rely on just companies to come up with what they think is clean, we're just always going to have different definitions of it.
What I can tell you from the experience in the market is that the community that is really prone on clean products and really is looking for clean products, they are really informed, and they know exactly what they want. Mm-hmm. So it's not possible to make clean washing to these specific communities, and United States is a very important one. In California and some areas, the movement was really starting. I think in the United States is really starting the movement, because also the regulation is quite different from other frames like European one. And well, as a brand, you need to know that this is the market, and they really are going to look for that. The problem I see is that we've seen that with green and natural cosmetics, and we had the ISO coming to make some clear picture on that. There is greenwashing, a great deal of greenwashing.
Still,
and it is.
And well, the thing about greenwashing is that it's still effective. A lot of companies are selling products because of that.
Even at the raw materials industry. Because
what?
We are
what? I can't believe
it. I mean, when you look at this kind of products, it's necessary to be very careful, because there are very interesting claims like clean, green, and when you go to the basics and you ask for the flows, and sometimes it's difficult to have the whole picture. So eyes open.
But that is probably one of the biggest challenges, right? We don't have a good tracking system along the entire chain of raw materials to finished products. There's a lot of information lost. You have any ideas how we might better track the sustainability and the cleanness of ingredients?
I think a good point, but doesn't cover everything. But for example, EcoCert and NatTrue and certified ingredients, even though they are not following the clean criteria as itself, but they take care also on sustainability and on the impurities and the processes, and that at the end they are also done through green chemistry. But anyway, even that there is a certification, you need to take care of all these other aspects and the ethical sourcing and the sustainability. So at the end, there is no magic answer. There is a lot of work behind everything.
It's a lot of challenge. Oh, this question kind of ties into that from Philippe. What do you think of genetic and chemical analyses to check the composition and traceability of plant raw materials?
Well, I think that's a good point for when you may have questions on if the sourcing is really what they are saying. You may have certifications, but there's been quite a great deal of problems, for example, with natural squalene. And there were some articles also indicating that maybe there was a mixture with shark squalene. So the only way to make sure that you are using the right one might be to have a genetic test. So I think it's a tool. Difficult to have as a reliable control analysis in a production, but for making tests from time to time or controlling your suppliers, it may be a good idea.
Well, I must say we have a ton more questions, and we got about 20 more minutes of answering. So thank you, Dr. Ramos, for your time. And let's get on to some more questions. Just as a reminder, though, this is the IFSCC webinar, our 19th webinar of the year, and it's free for IFSCC members. Okay, here's an interesting question from Richard. Do you have any suggestions for natural and organic preservatives? Preservatives, I know you had mentioned during the talk that that's a big challenge, and we don't have a lot of good substitutes. But what are your thoughts on the best things we have right now?
Actually, that's really the more difficult one, the more difficult question. I'm continually doing research, and there are a lot of launches continuously on this. But the problem sometimes is that they are very expensive. I mean, I don't want to say expensive.
Sure.
Costly with a big impact on the formulation.
I'll say expensive.
So everything is more expensive when it's clean, and the preservative is becoming a high percentage of the expenditure of the formulation. I personally like very much bacterial ferments. I think they provide good answers for microbiome friendly solutions, because this is the kind of solution that our bacteria in our skin are also producing to counterbalance one to each other. The thing is that sometimes they need help, and also I like some organic acids like levulinic and anisic. I have to say that my personal experience with the conventional ones is not very good always, because sometimes they have irritations. So I really look forward more bacterial ferments that can provide solutions, especially for difficult systems like sunscreens and high pH, because for the low pH, you can manage quite well with combination of acids and this kind of compounds. Yeah. And now there are very interesting launchings, but we need to see how the challenge tests are coming.
Yeah, exactly. That is a challenge. Let's see, we got another question here from Barati. So at what point are products natural? There are so many ingredients. One of the ingredients you mentioned as a surfactant, a natural surfactant, was glucosides. But out in nature, those don't exist as glucosides, right? You can't go out into your garden and grow a glucoside plant. So there still has to be some synthetic chemistry there. So I think Bharati is asking, at what point is it natural or is it too synthetic? Or is it, even if it started natural and becomes too synthetic? Where is that line for you?
Well, actually, for me, the line, and I think the ISO also help us very much to have this frame, and even the natural certifications accept natural origin, and you can have 100% natural origin. For me, the key is that the process to combine them needs to be clean, needs to be green. So reactants, solvents, all the elements in the process need to be natural and not providing impurities that can pose a problem. So for me, esterification is an accepted process, and this kind of mild chemistry, also not using solvents like organic ones, which are living residues, so water chemistry, and for me that's fine.
I saw in your presentation you had mentioned sulfates. That's a process out, but I believe the Cosmos standard accepts some versions of sulfates.
Yes, Cosmos standard accepts inorganic sulfates.
Yeah.
That's also a situation in the industry in which sulfates are all in the same bag. And usually in the market, when referring to sulfate-free, is more referred to surfactants like LSA and this kind of surfactants. Especially because they are more irritating and they come from a chemistry which is very petrochemical.
Yeah.
So for me, an inorganic sulfate is not the same. It's completely different chemical species.
Yeah. Here's a question. I'm going to rephrase it a little bit, but from Prashant. Talk about essential oil ingredients that have a lot of natural actives in them, but they take a lot of land to grow. I once saw if you wanted rose oil, it takes you like 10,000 pounds of that. And while that is all natural and maybe safe and all, that certainly doesn't seem like an efficient use of land.
Yeah, that's the thing we have to balance all the time. There are areas that are traditionally used to produce this kind of products and components. And hopefully, I would like to see technology in the future that can provide us to do that in the lab. So, yeah, let's look for that.
Yeah. So you're okay with laboratory produced things, but it's more about safe and green in that way, and it's not so much the synthetic piece.
Yeah, the thing is that we need to take care of the process, the impurities, and especially coming to this point with the land and the water. I mean, to cultivate, to obtain an extract, a natural extract, you need to cultivate big pieces of land, and this also means using water. So the technologies in the lab provide that in a more sustainable way. It's not just a matter of efficiency, but it's a matter of sustainability. And this kind of chemical reactions, green chemistry started like in the last century. Early, the first ideas came from the 70s, so we are not inventing anything now. But the big push is from the late 90s. And this is not just for cosmetic. This is something pushing the chemical industry also to have more friendly processes. Yeah. Also for the workers.
Yeah, I mean, I think overall for society, that trend has certainly led to a cleaner environment. When I was growing up, we used to have lead in the gasoline. It was all over, and at least I got rid of that, right?
that's a thing. Society is changing, and we are caring about other things. So for most part of the world, not in every areas, but for the most part of the world, we have basic necessities covered.
Yeah.
So we want more, and now as a society, we want to take care of ourselves and the health and the environment. So I think the cosmetic industry evolution, natural evolution, is to go ahead with these times.
Well, Stephanie mentions an interesting point in the form of a question. We talk about sustainability and cleaner, but how much of this also is related to consumer habits and just capitalism itself? One of the things about companies is that you want to produce more and more. You want consumers to buy more and more and make more and more. What part of tempering consumer habits like that, and even company habits of selling less, is that even part of this clean and natural trend?
Well, one of the things is how many products do you need to sell? Do the consumer need? And one of the parts of the minimalism is use just what you need and just the product that you need. If you can provide a product which is working on different areas, why to ask the consumer to buy 3 products or 4? So that's part of the thing also, to educate the consumer and to provide the tools for buying less products. And yeah, this is as part of an industry, this is something we can do. This is something we do. So it's possible. Sometimes the consumer don't understand because they are used to have a lot of products available, but it's possible.
But, you know, in the United States, the investors don't understand either. You know, you need more and more profit, and you got to sell more.
You have to find the balance.
Right, you definitely do. Here's a question from Marta, and I'm going to paraphrase here, but what are the regulations or the specifications that you have to think about when using recycled plastics? Is that something, do we have specifications for recycled that's appropriate for products?
So far, as far as I know, not legally specifications, but here in Europe, you have to make a safety assessment. And for this safety assessment, you have to ask for specifications for the packaging, and you have to have impurities. That's the question I was mentioning during the presentation. I think one thing is to recycle plastic in the manufacturer. I mean, this is something left, you know the composition, and it goes again to the machine. But I don't feel confident at all with plastic that has been picked up in the market. In the sea, we see some claims saying that we have picked up all these plastic bags and we are making. I think that's fine for other uses. But if you recycle, we have a specialist here in the University of Granada, Dr. Olea.
We have about 5 more minutes. Thank you for coming back on. Camille wants to know, what are some credible sources to find safety and environmental information for raw materials?
For me, one is EGW Skin Deep. There are plenty of information on different evaluations, and PubMed, for example. Also, there is information on the IARC, so the Cancer Research Organization, depending on the World Health Organization. Proposition List 65 also makes a good job, the EPA, and the list of California. Of course, as I mentioned before, all the evaluation of the toxicology committee of the ASTCS and the CIR.
CIR.
With all these compendia, you can make a picture of where gaps and where there are certainties and decisions of the SCCS or the CIR.
Yeah.
There are a lot of toxicological data, and regularly there is a question like there is a gap of all this. But EGW is a good source, but not all the ratings are clear because sometimes they are wide. So you have to look at the information and papers and get your own opinion.
Well, one of the challenges I see about a thing like the EWG and their ratings is that they're trying to make a more complicated topic just really simple to a number. And since every ingredient depends on the concentration, whether it's toxic or not, it's you can't just give it a number, right? If you use too much water, you could die. So every ingredient, if that's the
Yes.
standard, so it's very difficult for just a number. Let's get a few more questions.
That's the thing, that there is not only one place.
Yeah, absolutely. That is absolutely
Yes.
true. Well, since we're having some technical glitches here, and we're really coming to the top of the hour, let me just see if I can get one last question. How do you determine the safety of your ingredients when you can't use animal testing?
There are quite a great deal of in vitro testing. Every time there are more, and the European Union has a program for decades to implement testing. And well, I think for most of the ingredients, the lack is the long-term dose and the high-low and the intake and all these options that we had before. But we have other testing, so we cannot rely just on one test. There are more tests. We have procedures for mutagenicity. We have procedures now more for endocrine disruption, for irritation, sensitization. So we have to work with that. And also, I think very much from the chemical point of view on in silico methods to understanding the structure relationship of the products. And I think this is going to help. There are good programs going on to have more information on that.
Yeah. Okay, well, look at that, the top of the hour. Thank you so much for the presentation. Sorry about the technical glitches. Thank you all for attending and for all your questions, and thank you for all your answers. Dr. Ramos, I'm going to give you the last word.
Yes, I want to thank you all, the attendees, and also the IFSCC for having the opportunity here to share this time with you. I think that there are a lot of things to debate. You had a very interesting debate some weeks ago, and I think it's good that in the society we talk about that and we start to set up our mind to this change or this revolution, because this is here to stay. It's not going back.
Well, thank you so much, and we will see you next time. Bye, everyone.
Okay, see you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
There we go. Hello, everybody. We're Marilyn, we're live.
Oh, hi. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we just went live.
Hi.
Hello,
Hi
everyone.
from Barcelona.
Yeah, we got 3 people online already. There we go. Well, welcome. We're going to get started in just 13 minutes. 13 minutes. You have joined us on the latest IFSCC webinar. Marilyn, what number is this webinar?
19.
Number 19. Boy, we've been doing this almost a year. Today's topic is going to be cosmetics beyond natural, clean, and sustainable technologies for the current consumers' demand. Should be a good one. I'm looking forward to it. Our speaker today is Dr. Isabel Ramos. You know, I should get that right. Dr. Isabel Ramos. She will be speaking to us at the top of the hour. But before we get to that, why don't you guys tell us where you're from? So in the chat box over there, you can see that's where we communicate. And let us know where you're from and say hello. We've got Sarah Taylor. Hello, Sarah. Welcome aboard. Mary Lynn's from New York. Oh, wait, you're on the. There you go. And we've got 24 people joining us. I am Perry Romanowski. I am the chair of the Education Committee for the IFSCC, and I'm located in Chicago. We've got, Sarah is in London. Hello, Sarah. Let's see. Isabel, where are you? You said you're located in Barcelona?
Barcelona, yes.
Ah, okay.
Very close to the sea, to the Mediterranean Sea.
Oh, boy.
So are you saying you don't have like 2 feet of snow outside?
No. It's quite sunny, actually. The morning was cloudy. It was more like London, but now it's more Mediterranean, so it's really sunny outside.
Oh, that is nice. I'm jealous.
Well, Perry, you're
I'm
going to be
sorry.
there. You're going to be there in September of 2023 for the
Yes.
IFSCC Congress, which is September 4th to 7th, 2023.
Well,
Looking forward to seeing you there.
I'm looking forward to it too. I'm also looking forward to it not being negative 12 C degrees out, which it is right here.
Not
And
for
that's-
sure, not.
And that's air temperature. That's not wind chill.
Right, that's just the air temperature, yeah. Well,
Actually, September is very good.
oh, nice. That will be excellent. Let's see, we got Indira from Michigan. Hello. We've got Lauren from Italy. Okay, we've got lots of people joining us. Heloise from Sweden. So we've got the EU is pretty covered. We got a couple in the United States. Welcome aboard, Janica from Slovakia. Hello.
Great.
Yeah, we've got a lot of people checking in.
Like the United Nations.
We are going to get started in just 10 minutes, so looking forward to that. Naz from New York. Hello, Elizabeth. Barcelona, Elizabeth. So how are things in Barcelona right now? And as far as, are you guys able to go out to restaurants and stores and such?
A little bit. The situation is improving the last days, and we have different setups depending on the regions.
Yeah.
But in Barcelona, from last Monday, we had a little bit more of movement because we had a restriction to the city, and now we can move to the surrounding towns. So things getting better, and we are hopefully improving.
Yeah, that's good. And things that seem to be improving here in the United States a bit too, so that's good.
I think it's quite general. From what I heard, the OMS man said that the thing was improving in the whole world. So hopefully we are all getting out of that situation.
It sure has thrown a monkey wrench into how society works, though, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious. That's a phrase that I say. I throw a monkey wrench. Is that a phrase that, like, in Spain, that means something to you?
No, I need explanation.
I have no idea.
So, like, if an engine has got a lot of parts running and stuff, if you throw a wrench, it's a tool you throw it in there and it messes the whole thing up. And we say you throw a monkey wrench into something, that means it screws everything up.
Okay, I can think of an Spanish expression for that now.
Yeah, sure. That would be fun. We got to think of general phrases and how they're said in different languages. I think that could be a whole book. Well, Isabella, before we get started, and welcome everybody who's coming out. We're going to get started in 8 minutes. But before we get started, why don't you tell us a little bit about you? How did you get involved in the cosmetic industry?
That's really a good question. I'm wondering myself. Actually, I was pushed to this industry. I studied chemistry, and I'm an organic chemist. And actually, my focus was biochemistry. I really love biology. And during my degree, all the preparation in university was related with pharmaceutical industry and petrochemical industry. I was more focused to the pharmaceutical industry because of the biology and biochemistry. And I didn't even know about the cosmetic industry. I hope they have changed that now.
Yeah.
Because, Spain is one of the leading countries in the cosmetic industry. we are at the top 5 in the world and in the 5th, if it hasn't changed, about the 5th position in Europe. So it's amazing that it's not something that students have in mind. So when I finished my PhD, there was a position in the university, in the Department of Organic Chemistry there, and some colleagues of me said, okay, you should start looking for a job. Why don't you go? This is perfect for you. It's describing you. And I said, oh, cosmetics? Now I have to write my thesis. So I went to the interview and I started in this industry.
Wow.
And here I am, more than 20-something years later. And I have to say that I really got engaged with this industry because I didn't expect it so much science and so much interesting things going on. So this is really amazing.
You know, I have a similar story, but when I got into the industry, I thought I would, you know, I didn't know anything about it. I just happened to get hired as my first job out of school with a degree in chemistry, although I did focus on biochemistry also. The alpha pleated beta sheets and the helical coils. Yeah, I love the protein structure stuff. And
yeah,
lots of fun. But when I got in, I thought, oh, I would just be here for 1 year and then I'll go back to school and get a PhD and stuff. But you know, the cosmetic industry was kind of fun, so I just kind of stuck around. So yeah.
Yes.
Hey, I went onto my iPhone and looked up monkey wrench in those reverse dictionaries, and it says in Spanish es una llave inglesa, and in French it's une clé anglaise. So they're blaming it on the English. It's an English wrench.
Oh,
yes, an English key is what they're translating it as. So I don't know how true that is.
Well, that's a very interesting saying. Isabel, I always like to learn one word. I figured I couldn't learn all languages, so I decided to learn one word in every language.
Oh, okay.
And that word is watermelon. So I do know it in Spanish. It's sandia, if I'm correct. French, it's pastèque. My favorite is karpouzi, which I believe that is in Greek, I believe. Karpouzi.
What's it in Polish? You must know it in Polish.
You know what? That is the. I do know it in Polish.
I know you know it in Polish. You must.
I know. It's arbuz.
Oh.
Yeah. Which is the same German? As in Russian. In German, it's Wassermelon.
Oh, that's easy. Now, why did you choose that specific word?
Because I like watermelon.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I don't know. Like, if you had to learn one word in every single language, what would that word be? I know, hello, you know, all that stuff, but
a noun.
Just one word.
I like water.
Water, okay.
Sarah says, what is it in Chinese? I do not know. I think in Japanese it's siqua. But I'm sure native speakers of these languages are going to tell me that I'm mistaken.
I can tell you one maybe you don't know.
What's that?
In Catalan, which is a Roman language, it's Síndria.
Sylvia?
Síndria.
Cindia. Gotcha.
So you have another one.
Yeah. So instead of an A sound, the syllable, it's got an I. Cindia. Got it.
Oh, Cindia, no Sindria.
Sindria.
Okay.
Hey, I mean, the vowels in English and Spanish are completely different, so it's difficult to make spelling.
I like Prashad's idea. Prashad is saying he'd ask for English, please.
Yes.
That's a very functional one.
Well, this is fascinating language talk, but you are not on language talk, despite what it may seem. You have joined us for the latest IFSCC webinar. We're going to get started in just 2 minutes. Welcome, everybody. Just a little housekeeping here. If you want to say hello, let us know in the chat. Let us know where you're from. Also, if you have any questions while we're going through the presentation, feel free to post it in the chat. And then at the end of this, we're going to have a question and answer session for as long as we've got questions, or going up to the top of the hour, whichever one comes first. We are going to get started in 2 minutes. With me today, Mary Lynn Hallen. She is the Secretariat of the IFSCC. Also, our speaker, Dr. Isabel Ramos. She will be our presenter, and she's located in Barcelona. Yeah, go ahead, Mary Lynn.
Our Presidium member, Carmina Casas, who is the representative of the Spanish Society, has joined us. She's also in Barcelona, and she's the person who recommended Isabel for today's webinar. So hi, Carmina.
Yeah, looking forward to it today. But
Martinique, we have Martinique in the house.
Martinique, is that like Caribbean islands?
Yes, it is.
I've been to Martinique. Yeah, it's lovely, lovely place there. The water is so blue. Okay, looks like on my clock we got the top of the hour.